friends, welcome back to my channel. It is Tuesday, June 3rd, and this is my Flosstube. It has been, I think, a couple months since my last regular Flosstube. I did come on and do just a quick little video about what my Mania plans were, but since May is over, it seemed like a good day to come in and show you what I've gotten done. I was getting quite a pile because my stitching has been all over the place in the last couple weeks, but I've made some progress on things, and so I'll share that today. And I have some FFOs and some finishes also to show you. The dogs are all in here, and I think all three of them are snoring, so if you hear that background noise, I apologize, but I'm not going to kick my dogs out, so hopefully it won't be too bad. I also am filming during my lunch break, so I feel like my lighting is not great, so I will watch this back, and if it's really bad, maybe this won't get posted. We'll see. First of all, if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. I always am thrilled that people found my channel and liked it enough that they subscribed. I have also got a lot of new people that have showed up in the last month, mainly because I got a really nice shout out from Pam and Steph of Just Keep Stitching. So that was really sweet, and it drew a little bit of attention to my channel. My channel has never been about subscribers and trying to grow or push anything, so welcome. I hope you like the projects that I am working on and get some inspiration maybe, or some entertainment, I don't know. But I think I don't really have any life updates, so I think we'll dive right into the stitching because I think that's what you're here for anyway. To start, what I have been working on, I started this yesterday, is my monthly minis. So this is from Primrose Cottage. I started these with my friends Pam and Teresa and Sherry right after StitchCon last year. So we started in July, and I think most of us have caught up. Yeah, because Pam just finished May, so I think everybody has one more to do, and then we've completed the whole series. So since my last video, I have finished April. And May. If I could hold it straight. I'm stitching all of these on 32 count vintage country mocha with mainly floss from stash. May was just some DMC that I picked. I couldn't readily find the called for colors, so I just picked some that I thought worked. These patterns are great for that. And then yesterday I started June. It's still in the Q snap, but it's stitching up really quick. So this, if it'll focus, this is June. So all I really have left is the big white flower in the middle, and then like the rest of the little whites, and there's a little bit left to stitch on this, but it's stitching up quick, and I think it will definitely be finished this week. I do post all of my finishes on my Instagram, so if you're interested in seeing what I've stitched and the details, I do always try to include the design or the pattern, the fabric and the floss that I use on my finishes. So since we're almost done with the monthly minis, we started looking at what we maybe want to take on next, and Pam and I both loved this Patini chart. It's months 2025. It was the market release. And so this is going to be our next monthly mini. I'm going to do them all as one big piece. I wish I had did the Primrose Cottage monthlies like that. My friend Teresa, who is Patriotic Stitcher on Instagram, is doing hers as one piece, and it's beautiful. So I kind of want to go back and do the Primrose again as one piece, but I don't think that's something that I want to take on this year. So I am going to hold on to the pattern and make that decision later on if I want to stitch them again. But starting July 1st, we're going to start the months 2025. Which is going to be a little weird because we're going to have to start with July. I mean, I guess I could start with January. It doesn't really matter. But I kind of have liked doing the one a month series. And so that's probably what I'll do. I'll probably just go down my fabric and start with July. So that's the monthly minis and a couple of finishes. I'm not in any real good order today because my FFOs are way over there. And so I'm going to show you the pile that I have, and then I will pause and reset. Next up is my Stitch Mania. So Stitch Mania was kind of a mixed bag for me. So if you watched my last video, I had told you that I was going to start 5 new samplers and stitch 1 a week and kind of see where I got. And I did that. I did start all 5, but some of them I made good progress and others not so much. So my most recent start was Caroline College 1823 from Running with Needles and Scissors. This was one of my favorite market releases. I don't know, I just think it's beautiful. I had to restart this because of a fabric orientation issue, and I did not get much stitched. It's still in the Q-snap. It was my most latest start, but all I got was that little bit. So I do want to get back in and get some more stitches in this in the month of June. I'm stitching this on 40 count Dove from Color and Cotton using the called for NPI silks. Okay, my next Stitch Mania start was Margaret Felicia Dyson 1843 from Fox and Rabbit. And this was my start on Margaret. Just a little bit of the border. I'm stitching this on 40 counts. Oh, I should have pulled that up. Hold on. I will look. Maybe I will look. Margaret's 36 count maple bar from Cedar River Linen using the called for Averiswa silks. So that's Margaret. Next we have from Jeannette Douglas, Stitches Be Sweet. I think this was this year's market release. So it's the 3rd companion piece in the series. And she taught the 4th at a class fairly recently at Acorns and Thread, I think. And it's beautiful. So I'm hoping that that'll be a 2026 market release and it'll be top of my purchases. So here's my start on Stitches Be Sweet. I'm stitching this on 40 count Seraphim. Sorry, my thing keeps locking. Old Stationery. Using the called for silks, which is a combination of Gloriana, some Silken Colors, and maybe some classic colorworks silks. I don't really remember. I bought the silk pack, so it's a mixed bag of a little bit of everything. Next up in Stitch Mania, we had Mary Wigglesworth from Hands Across the Sea. Oops. Sorry, Barley. I dropped that and scared her. As my husband would say, she's scared of everything. Mary Wigglesworth. I don't have it wrote down. I believe this is a 36 count old teacup from Needle and Flax. That sounds right. Here's my little start of Mary Wigglesworth. I really didn't get much done when I started this for Stitch Mania, so a couple nights ago I pulled it back out and got a couple, at least another half strand of floss in. I'm using the called 403s on this one. And my final Stitch Mania start was also my birthday start, and I got decent start on this one. This is Sampler Dogs from the Scarlett house. And I got the border all done. So I got the border and one of the dogs in. So this is 40 count baked clay from Fox and Rabbit, and I'm using the called for overdyed cottons on this one. I love this one, and it really got me in the mood to stitch borders. I don't know, I think it's just the repetition of a border that has really been appealing to me in the last couple of weeks, and so I will show you I have made a lot of progress on borders. Not so much so it's a lot of stitching, but it doesn't feel like I've done much because it's all the border. So let's just move on before I just ramble. Next up is Floral Motif Sampler from the Scarlett house. This was my birthday start in 2024. And I also got the border done on this one. It's a little big for my board. Here is Floral Motif Sampler. So I got the border worked all the way around. And I think since my last video, I've worked on these 3 motifs up here. I think that's where we were. But it's very wrinkly, but we're making progress on this. Having the border done feels really good, but it also shows me how much more I actually have to stitch. So, but I still love Floral Motif, and it is a goal to have it done at least this year. I was hoping that I would have it done before May, but life happens, right? So not a big deal. Next up, I pulled out Moments of Glad Grace from Blackbird Design. I started this last year. My sampler guild was doing a kind of a Blackbird tribute every August, and so I started this around that time last August, and then it went into the whip pile. And while I was stitching borders, I decided to pull this one out and also made it all the way around on the border. So I did go in, so I did the outline all the way around, and I've gone back in and filled in most of the leaves. I started to put some of the flowers in down here, just in that second border, just because I didn't want to move my Q-snap. So that's why that bottom corner got a little more work done on it. But this is another one that I want to keep out for the month of June and at least get the border done. And I'm kind of hoping that I can get the border all the way done by StitchCon so that I can work on motifs at StitchCon. I think that's where I'm going. I haven't fully decided what I'm gonna take yet, so I still have a couple weeks to make that decision. And then while I was on the border kick, I also pulled out Pink Sparrow sampler from With a Needle and Thread. A couple people have on Flosstube have finished this recently, and it's beautiful. And when I pulled it out, I think I had started up here and I was almost all the way around, or maybe all the way around. So I had about half of the border done. So I pulled out Pink Sparrow and at least got it outlined. So here is where we are. Oops, I have a thread with a needle in it. Let me put it to the back so it doesn't disrupt so much. But the border outline is done on this one. So I did kind of go in and started one of the flowers, but then I think I got bored. So this one got put away. But I do want to pull it out and do some more work on it too. My border didn't quite match up. You can't tell. But I was a thread off, but for something like this, it wasn't worth frogging, so we fudged it. I'm getting really good at fudging things. So always forward, right? Fudging is fine, especially if it doesn't affect the overall design. Next up is not a completed border. It is a new start, and actually haul. I bought this in the month of May. It is the Upping of the King Swans, Emma Carriage, age 11, 1870. It is a mouthful. This is from 1897 Schoolhouse samplers, which is sold exclusively through Evertote. Somebody on Instagram was stitching this. I think she might have finished it, but I've seen this design before, and it's been kind of on my wish list, and when I saw her working on it, it needed to come live with me. So since I was ordering from Evertote, I went ahead and ordered the fabric and thread from them, and we did a small start. So this is Temptation. It's 36 count Temptation from Roxy Floss Co. And we did all of the Roxy floss for this. They're just cotton flosses, but they are lovely. And we did a small start. This is definitely one that I want to work on more this year. I love a bright sampler, and that one fits all parts of that. I love that bright pink fabric. I kind of regret not ordering another piece, but I also know that I will probably be placing another order with Evertote in the future, and so I might just order another piece of that. We'll see how things go. I've been kind of trying to not buy a lot of things because I do know StitchCon is coming up, but it makes it hard because I have a little bit of a shopping addiction, and so I buy things. That's what I do. I pulled out Anna Funk from Erica Michaels to try to make a little progress on this, and I didn't do much, but this one also, this is still in the Q-snap and has a needle and thread sticking through it. This is where we are on Anna Funk. So look at the design. I'm up here. So I've done this, and I'm working on one of these pieces over here. I don't know what fabric this is. Sorry, I'm trying to look it up on my spreadsheet as we go. Anna Funk is 40 count color and cotton buttermilk. And I'm using the called for overdyed cottons on this one. Okay, next up, I got way off track. So back in April, I went to a stitch in with my local sampler guild. It was their 30th or 35th anniversary. And I sat at a table with some new friends, and one of them is Lisa. She has a Flosstube. I'm gonna try to link it below because I don't remember what her, maybe I can look it up since I have it here. Little Annie Z Flosstube. Trying to get to her page without actually playing this. It's Little Annie Z and Mama Z Flosstube. So Lisa. I had the privilege of meeting her, and she was working on a Hands Across the Sea project. Mary Cornwall, 1827. I only have the PDF copy of that, so she was working on that, and she was stitching it on the Stitch Me's another reproduction sampler. This is 40 count with a pink NPI. I don't think I got the same NPI as her, but I'm in the same range. So this, I'm using NPI 573A, and this is where I got on Mary Cornwall. But I don't think the camera's doing it justice. It's so pretty, and you should go check out her Flosstube, and she's a lot further along than me on it, and it's beautiful, but I am thoroughly copying her because it was so pretty. I also got a new iPad, so I am using Markup RXP. So I was talking to my friend Pam in early May, and she was kind of telling me about it and being like I should try it, that she thought I'd like it. So I had asked Scott if I could borrow his iPad because I didn't have one previously. And so I borrowed his iPad for a week or so and was trying it out, and I really liked it. Of course, the way my husband is, he's not going to just let me borrow his iPad indefinitely. And so he bought me a new one for my birthday. It was my birthday gift this year. So, great gift, a very generous gift, and it means I can use markup, which means I just want PDFs of everything now because they load a little. You don't have to have a PDF to load it into markup, but it's a little easier to kind of get the grid and everything set up. But I really like being able to go in and instead of highlighting like with a physical copy, to be able to highlight in a digital form. I'm really enjoying. But with Mary Cornwall, it really made me start thinking about kind of changing the colors in some of the samplers and not doing so many red samplers. And I want pink samplers now. So now I want to do at least a little wall of pink samplers. And so I started thinking about pink samplers and it reminded me that I have this little robin. This is a sampler of St. Ives, which I started, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but here is where I am. I did pull this out and do a little bit more work on it. Of course, I have a hanging thread. So I'm not entirely sure what this fabric is, but I do know it's a 28 count, and I believe it's a color in cotton. It's kind of got, it's getting a little washed out. It's kind of a grayish color with a lot of pinks in it. And so these threads look really good on it. And it's a 28 count, so it's kind of a nice break for my eyes when I am stitching on too much 40 counts. It gives me a good break, and it's something I can do when I'm tired, or like if I'm out in the living room and don't have the best light. A 28 count is a lot easier to kind of pull out and make some progress on. So a sampler St. Ives is definitely something that I want to continue working on. I am using the called for NPI, and she calls for you to do a blended thread. So it's 2 different NPIs that you've blended. So you kind of need to do it on like a 28 or a 32 count or an Ada to kind of get the effects. It's very subtle, and you kind of have to have like the right light hitting it to kind of see the effect of the blended thread, but it's really pretty, trust me. Okay, next up I pulled out, I've tried to continue working on Hands Across the Sea Jessie Ormiston. This was one that I got in the All Things Bright and Beautiful box. So I did a little bit of progress on this. I am using all the called 403s, and this is 40 count Fox and Rabbit Black Swan, which I believe is the called for. I love Jessie. I do have a really hard time working on it. I need a magnifier and I need good lighting because a 40 count black is extremely difficult. So I can't do it without the magnifier, which is unusual for me. But I do love it, and I was kind of hoping that I could have it done before StitchCon because I have promised to loan that chart to my friend, and I wanted to be able to give it to her there, but I don't know that I'm going to make that. So I might have to mail it to her later, which is completely fine. Next up is another Hands Across the Sea. So I didn't bring them all out, but I had the opportunity to buy the charts from the Words of Wisdom red box. So it was another, gosh, 13 or 14 Hands Across the Sea charts. A lot of them are small and they are beautiful. I'm not going to show them all to you today. You'll just have to see them when I work on them. But yeah, I had the opportunity to buy them, and it was a good deal, and so I jumped on it. So the first one I pulled out of that box to do is Ellen Winsor, Honesty is the Best Policy. So this was an exclusive to that box. Both of these were, so you can really only get them on the secondary market now. She's not going to release them to the general public. I just have a small start on this one. This is a 40 count Grace Notes. Oh, I don't remember the color. I don't know. If you really want to know the color, I can tell you. It's got a little pink and a little blue tint to it, and I'm using the Call 403 silks. That's my small start on Ellen Winsor. And then, for the first time, I joined the Dying to Stitch. Oh, I don't know what the club is called. It's the Dying to Stitch sampler club. I have no idea if they still have spots in it. I joined last September and had kind of forgotten that I had joined this club. So it was a little bit of a surprise when this showed up. But the club piece this year is from Sampler Bird Stitchery. This is Blessed Are the Merciful. It's really pretty. And it made me really glad that I had signed up for that club. And so you get all the called for floss and a piece of R&R linen. So this is R&R French Vanilla, a 36 count, and that is my little tiny start on this one. You see, I have a lot of little bitty starts because I can't decide what I want to work on. So I've been starting everything and kind of seeing what's gonna click, basically. Next up, my friend Pam also had a birthday in May, and she wanted to start. I'll pull it up because it's a digital copy. I swear I had these all ready to go. Wi-Fi's a little slow. This is, oh, come on. From Shakespeare's Peddler, Joy. This was a market release. And so I picked I don't know what this fabric is. It's a 40 count, I want to say shiplap from Color and Cotton. And I was just pulling some thread from Stash. So for Pam's birthday, on her birthday, I just got a small start at this and haven't picked it up since. But it's a beautiful pattern and I would love to get back to it. You okay, Barley? She's fine. And one more whip. I started this a couple days ago because of Audrey Marine, who is Stitch Bead. She did a video showing you how to do Smyrna crosses, and she was stitching Jessie Anderson from Hands Across the Sea. This was also included in the All Things Bright and Beautiful red box. So it's only going to be available on the secondary market. Audrey was stitching hers on a 56 count Tabby Cat Down the Rabbit Hole. I knew that I had a piece of Down the Rabbit Hole, but I didn't have 56 count, I have 36 count. And she was using 103 silk, which I had, which I think is 664. And so I went ahead and started this. I loved Audrey's. I thought it was very, very beautiful. And so I wanted to copy her as well. I'm really good at copying people, it seems. But I didn't know if it would be as pretty on 36 instead of 56, but I think it's beautiful. So I just wanted a small start to make sure I was gonna like it, and I do. So I fully intend to keep stitching on this little red sampler. Okay, that's all my whips. I'm gonna take a quick break and get my FFOs and just a little bit of haul. I really don't have much, but I do have a couple of things that I can share with you today. So pause that you won't even notice, and I'll be right back. And before I do my FFOs, I'm gonna go through plans. So we really don't have a rhyme or reason to this video today, but I really want to do sampler summer, or I think that's what it's, whatever Carol Saltbox Stitcher is doing. I want to work on samplers at least through the summer and through sampler September. So all the ones that I've showed you in my whips, I fully intend to keep working on. I love every single one of them, and I would like to make some more progress. But I also went down this rabbit hole. So the Attic, on their latest Flosstube, I think it was their latest, but they did a interview with the Scarlett house, and Tanya from the Scarlett house, she does have a name, but it made me fall down the Scarlett house rabbit hole, and I want to stitch all the Scarlett houses. So I do have a couple of those that I just showed you, but I pulled a few more that I would like to start. So first up is the Little Deed sampler. So I have this kitted with the called for cottons, and I don't know what this fabric is. It feels like a Cedar River, but the tag's not on it anymore. But it's got that feel of Cedar River, so that's what I think it is. This is the Little Red Chair sampler. And I don't know what the fabric is in here. Oh, it's a number 12 Stitch Co. And the called for Glorianas. And then finally, Sophia Gregory, which I have kitted up with the called for Belsoise. And I pulled this piece of 40 count color and cotton Beethoven, which I think it will look pretty odd. So that's Sophia Gregory. So all of those I would like to start in the next few months. And then also from the Words of Wisdom box, this is Fannie Wilson, Truth and Sincerity. I thought it was a beautiful one that needs to be stitched. And I have a 38 count Filbert from Legacy Linen that I would like to start that on. It's not gonna focus. That's okay. I have a few more hat charts that I would also like to start. Elizabeth Stevenson, which was the Queen of the May from Hands Across the Sea, which I believe I showed in my last video. I had pulled fabric for it. I was going to start it in May. My fabric wasn't big enough, so I had intended to start it on a 40 count, but on 40 count, a fat quarter is barely big enough. It gives you like a little less than half an inch of margin, which seemed to be cutting it too close. So I have ordered a piece of 48 count Legacy Linen for that, and I have all the called 403s. So I would like to start Elizabeth Stevenson probably as soon as my fabric arrives. And I have a couple more hat samplers that are kitted up that I would like to make some progress on in the next couple months. So just a couple pieces of haul. This is Fox and Rabbit Desert Taupe. It's a 40 count. I wasn't gonna do a Fabric of the Month club this year, but Garon Stitchery posted on their website that they had an opening in their club, and I don't feel like I have enough 40 count in my stash for some reason. So I have joined that club. So that was my first piece of fabric from that club. I went to a guild meeting last month, and I showed this in my last video that our challenge was to stitch something on a little wooden block, and I had stitched up this frog. Only 2 of us had participated in the challenge that were at least at the meeting, and so we each got a project bag. So this is the one that I picked, that wonderful Beth had made. Here's the back. Isn't it pretty? So that was wonderful. I did purchase the new Just Cross Stitch magazine, mainly for, there's a lot of good things in here, but I mainly wanted it for the October Fiber House think I can show this chart. Got random rain that's included in this magazine. Okay, and my final piece of haul is a big one. And I don't want to, well, here, I'll pull it out. Sorry for the crinkling, it's in the paper. The Britomart sampler from Katie Strachan Embroidery. So I bought the full kit. So it's the chart, the linen, and the 103s. And I signed up for the classes. So I won't be starting this until September because I have decided that I'm going to start it when the class gets going. But in the meantime, I'm going to practice some of the stitches. Like, I'm pretty sure, I need to go through the booklet, but I'm pretty sure in order to have a reversible piece that you have to pin stitch your starts and finishes. I'm guessing. I could be wrong about that, but that's my guess. So I want to kind of look at that in the booklet and kind of with my regular stitching kind of practice some of those things so that when it comes time to pull out the Britomart, I really want to spend some good quality time with it and have a really beautiful piece, because if you better be watching Katie Strachan Embroidery because her channel is way better than mine, but her piece is just beautiful, and if I could manage to do that and have that in my house one day, I would love it. So that's my plan, is to really take her classes and really take my time with the Britomart. Even if it takes me years to stitch, that's fine. I want a beautiful piece. And learning from Katie, what can be wrong? How can you go wrong, right? Okay, I've rambled a bit. And I still have FFOs to show you, so save the best for last, maybe. My first FFO, this is from JBW Design. This is around bees. It was her market release. I'm trying to figure out what's the top. I think this is the top because the bee is upward. So there is my finish. I stitched this on 40 count Grace Notes Buttercup, and I know that the darker gold color is the called for, and then I used a DMC as an accent piece. And I finished this on another salt cellar. So I don't know why I love this finish, but I just do. So the salt cellar kind of opens up and you can use it as a work container or just a little storage container. I ordered this one off of Amazon, relatively cheap. I think it was maybe $12 or $15 for the container, and then it's just a simple round finish. I just put some gold trim around it to hide my edges, and I love it. So I do have plans to do another salt cellar. I have an event to go to in August, and there's a smalls exchange with that, and so I do want to do another. I have plans to do another salt cellar. Somebody had asked me if I would do a tutorial on that finish, and I can do that. I will try to film a little tutorial when I finish that piece. It's really not hard. It's just a round finish, and you attach it to the top of the container. And then to hide my edges, I always put a trim around it. But if you took your time, you wouldn't even necessarily need that. Little forewarning, I'm not afraid to use glue. So everything on here is glued. So the piece is glued to cardstock. The trim is glued on. I've glued it to the top of the box. So one, it's not going to go anywhere, but I'm not afraid to use a little tacky glue. Next up, in early May, I attended Lindy Stitch's event, the Spring Mingle, which included a class with Kathy Haberman of Hands On Design. And the class project was this little, let me get my board, was this little pin cushion. So the pattern is a Bees Cotton piece from Hands On Design. We'll do a little flip through so you can see it all. It's so cute. I stitched mine on 32 count, I think it's mocha linen. I think it's the called for. I just went ahead and ordered everything from Lindy Stitches. I didn't use the called for floss. I just went to my floss wall and picked some colors that I thought worked. And then the little pins are stitched on an 18 count perforated paper. And then you just cut them out. I didn't do the best job with that. Here. Here's one of the pins. I couldn't quite figure out the backing process. So, but they still look cute. And I think it's a really good idea. And I wouldn't mind making some more pins for other things using kind of the same technique. But Kathy's a great instructor, and so this was a lot of fun, and I really liked doing it. And I learned how to do the little square pincushion finish. Next up, so last year for StitchCon, I had printed some name tags for my table mates and made a little stand to hold them in. They were just printed on a piece of cardstock, and so we all had our name tags at our seats. When I got home from StitchCon, I was in here working, and I heard Little Dog chewing on something, and she had somehow gotten a piece of that paper, and she chewed it. So my name tag was eaten by my dog. So the other day I decided I'd really like to have my name tag up again at StitchCon, and this time I stitched it. So this pattern is from Frizzy Lizzie Stitches on Etsy and Instagram, and she has a Flosstube. She had designed it for like a name badge holder, but I just stitched it on 40 count white using a red Gloriana. I picked red because my whole kind of stitching setup, my retreat setup, I guess if you will, my mat and everything is red. So I stitched it on that, and then I just finished it with this fabric I had in my stash. Again, I put a little trim on it to hide my edges, which I didn't hide very well. But that's gonna be my name tag at my table at StitchCon and other retreats moving forward. My final FFO, which is also going to StitchCon with me so that I can get a picture with Levi. Unfortunately, Pam's not gonna be able to come to StitchCon, which makes me incredibly sad, but at least I'll see Levi, and we all stitched Matter in Hand together, and this is my FFO. So this is a little ruler box that was gifted to me. I did stain it to make it a little darker. The original color was kind of a light wood color, so I just used a darker stain to make it a little darker. And then I just matted my stitched piece. I stitched it on 46 count, so it fit perfectly in this little box. And then I just accessorized with little things that I had in my stash. This was the little pin keep that we made at the guild retreat I showed you in my last video. And then just some little, this is floss that was left over from the pattern, and just some little accessories. I absolutely love it. So I'm thrilled with this FFO and hope that you like it. It was really an easy way to finish this, and it's just fun. And there's still plenty of room where I can add more things as or change them out. I didn't glue any of the stuff down. I just used a glue dot. So everything will come out and I can change it up if I want to in the future. I don't think I probably will, but it's an option. Okay. That's all I've got for today. This video does seem a little bit scrambled, but I will watch it back and make sure that it kind of has a little bit of flow to it. But again, thanks you everybody for the sweet comments and for all the new subscribers. Welcome. I hope you enjoyed and everything that I showed today. That's what I have for today. I hope that you've enjoyed it. I hope that you'll come back again. I have no idea when my next video will be, but it will be sometime soon in the future, probably after StitchCon. I'll come back and show you what I end up buying. I always go into it like, I'm like, I don't need anything. Let's be real. I don't need any more patterns. I don't need any more fabric. I don't need anything, but I've been to StitchCon enough that I know that I'm going to come back with a bag, at least a bag full of stuff. Probably multiple bags. Let's see. So maybe end of June, early July, I might be back for another video. Until then, everyone be well, and I'll see you soon.